But how are we meant to know that? Like we've got a week. The season ends in the season. We got a week. The season ends in 10 days. Like is she gonna come back or not? But since then, Caitlin Clark participated in team's most recent shoot arounds. There's still no definitive word on whether she's become ramping up in the way White mentioned, and she has somehow not been asked about it. Without clarity, it's hard to know if and when Caitlin Clark can make it back and what the team will look like in the playoffs indeed do start. Clark's fellow All-Stars have been yada yada. They've been good. The Fever have been all right.
Robin Lundberg recently published a piece on Sports Illustrated highlighting significant issues with WNBA media coverage, specifically regarding the Indiana Fever's handling of Caitlin Clark's injury situation. The article, titled "Fever Face WNBA Playoff and Caitlin Clark Return Questions After Loss to Valkyries," exposes troubling gaps in sports journalism surrounding this high-profile case. The situation reveals extraordinary communication breakdowns between the organization, media, and fans. Clark sustained an injury weeks ago, yet basic information remains unavailable to the public. Recent practice footage shows Clark wearing proper basketball footwear while teammate Chloe Bibby appeared in casual slides, suggesting possible differences in their participation levels. However, concrete details about Clark's status continue to elude reporters and supporters alike.
They've been good. The Fever have been all right, considering. But that's the craziest thing. That is the craziest thing about this all, is that you can see it. Clark have set no actual timetable. And he was saying it last night. He was like, nobody in the media will even ask Stephanie White when Caitlin Clark's going to be back, or has Caitlin Clark practiced. That is crazy. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like,
During a recent broadcast, Lundberg emphasized Clark's need for continued conditioning, ball handling work, and full court contact preparation before any potential return. Yet with merely 10 days remaining in the regular season, uncertainty persists about her availability. Clark has participated in recent team shooting sessions, but definitive information about her progression remains absent. The most striking aspect involves the apparent reluctance of media personnel to directly question head coach Stephanie White about Clark's timeline or practice participation. This represents a fundamental failure in sports journalism, failing to pursue basic questions that fans and stakeholders deserve to have answered. Without proper communication, determining Clark's playoff readiness becomes impossible.
we don't know. I think she has. Considering the fact Chloe Bibby was in slides during practice and Caitlin was in full gear. I think she has. There's no way the Fever will be making. If at this stage there's not enough time left, the Fever would not be bringing Caitlin Clark back for the playoffs if she hadn't played since in 2 months. That's not happening. They're not going to do that. We know they're not going to.
Logic suggests the Fever wouldn't consider bringing back their star player after a 2-month absence without adequate preparation time. If Clark hasn't progressed significantly by this point, the organization would likely shut her down for the remainder of the season rather than risk further complications. The absence of basic injury information compounds the confusion. The organization has never disclosed the specific nature of Clark's condition, whether it involves a muscle strain, nerve impingement, or some other issue. Initial reports described her as day-to-day with a game-time decision status following medical imaging, but that was approximately 6 weeks ago. Subsequent updates have been contradictory and confusing.
We know they're not going to do that. So I assume she is ramped up, because if she hasn't ramped up by now, they would just be sitting her for the season. Like, I think we can try to put logic to get there, but like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what we can say, like, about this, because it's all weird. Like, I say, oh, we can try to put logic here, but there's no logic. Like, look,
Reports initially suggested no significant damage occurred, followed by statements about full court running capabilities. Later communications contradicted previous information, stating she wasn't actually running at full intensity. Additional complications emerged when the team revealed a previously undisclosed ankle issue that occurred weeks earlier without any public notification. This communication pattern creates an untenable situation for all parties involved. The coaching staff likely feels frustrated having to field repeated questions about unclear information information, while media members appear hesitant to press for specific details. Meanwhile, Clark herself has remained absent from media availability, which represents appropriate injury management but leaves information gaps unfilled.
Like, look, I'm not a media member. Like, obviously, Robert writes for Sports Illustrated, worked for ESPN for years. There's people in this kind of like space that are media members that have been media members for a while and are kind of like in that form of sports. Like, I'm not a media member. I am a guy who talks into a microphone and gives my opinions. I'm not out here with sources. I'm not out here with anything. Like, if I say anything, I'm literally just speculating. I'm just giving an opinion or speculating.
Teammates have expressed their own uncertainty about the situation. Sophie Cunningham recently stated her complete lack of knowledge regarding Clark's return timeline, adding that Clark herself doesn't possess a definitive answer. Lexi Hull described Clark's day-to-day approach to recovery as positive, but this provides little concrete information for planning purposes. The entire scenario creates problems extending beyond the immediate team. The organization faces criticism for poor communication practices. Clark deals with uncertainty about her own playing future.
Speculating, but I've been around sports and been watching sports long enough, and we've all been around sports long enough to know that the way that everything's going with this Caitlin Clark injury is not normal. It's not normal from the media. It's not normal from a team. This entire weird scenario is not normal. Like, I'm not out here saying that, like, that they're mishandling Caitlin's injury, because we don't know that. We don't know that.
The league loses transparency regarding one of its most prominent players during a crucial playoff period. Media coverage gaps inevitably lead to increased speculation and unofficial theories. When legitimate journalism fails to pursue basic questions, fans and observers create their own explanations to fill information voids. The longer official silence continues, the more alternative narratives proliferate. Professional sports organizations typically maintain clear communication protocols regarding player injuries, especially involving star performers during important periods. The current situation represents a departure from standard practices that serve neither the team's interests nor the public's need for accurate information.
Injury, because we don't know that. We don't know that. I think you can make a very big argument that the Indiana Fever have they've not done a good job of obviously communicating with anyone. That they probably did a bad job for off season. But at the end of the day, we don't know, and because we don't know even the severity. We don't even know what this injury is. That's the craziest part. We don't know what this injury is. We don't know if it's a stroke.
The absence of straightforward answers about injury specifics, recovery timelines, and return possibilities creates unnecessary confusion during an already challenging period. Clear communication would benefit all stakeholders while maintaining appropriate medical privacy boundaries. The Fever's playoff hopes may depend partly on Clark's availability, yet planning becomes difficult without reliable information. The organization's reluctance to provide concrete updates, combined with media hesitation to ask direct questions, perpetuates an unsatisfactory situation that serves no constructive purpose. This case study highlights broader issues within sports media coverage and organizational communication practices. When basic transparency fails, everyone loses. NIAS teams, players, media, and fans alike.
This injury is. We don't know if it's a strain. We don't know if it's a pinched nerve. We don't know if we don't know anything. We don't know what this injury is. People are like, oh, it's a grade X groin strain. Based on what? Based on speculation. We have no idea. It could be anything. It could literally be anything. We don't know if it's a non-injury, but because of the overcompensation in her maybe there's something wrong with something else that's causing pain in her groin. Maybe there's a compensation issue. Maybe she's an issue with a different muscle that's causing pain in her groin. We don't know. We actually don't know. They have never told us.
The situation demands better practices from all involved parties to restore appropriate information flow and professional standards. The Phoenix Mercury delivered a decisive victory over the Indiana Fever in what became a showcase of strategic familiarity and on-court tensions. Without key players Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham in the lineup, the Fever struggled against a Mercury squad that seemed to anticipate every move. The game's outcome highlighted significant concerns about the Fever's current trajectory under head coach Stephanie White. Phoenix dominated with performances from former Connecticut Sun players who previously worked under White's system. Alyssa Thomas recorded an impressive impressive stat line with 23 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds, nearly achieving a triple-double.
Is that a word? It's a word now. You know who weren't cooking? Stephanie White. You know who was cooking? Her girls. Her girls was cooking. And they were cooking the Indiana Fever's ass is what they was cooking. Caitlin Clark told DeWanna Bonner, get your tall agenda having ass on down the court and out of my face. We will take a look at that. But before we get there, something very interesting has come out of this game.
DeWanna Bonner, despite her veteran status, contributed 19 points on efficient 6 of 11 shooting from the field. Indiana's struggles were evident across multiple players. Natasha Howard managed only 4 points, while Aaliyah Boston continued her recent shooting difficulties, converting just 5 of 15 attempts for 11 points. The team's bench production also disappointed, with Odyssey Sims hitting only 2 of 9 shots for 5 points total. The Fever's playoff positioning has become precarious, holding on to the final postseason spot by a narrow margin.
Interesting has come out of this game, right? And of course, it was a loss to the Phoenix Mercury. It should be noted, it seems like half the damn team played for Stephanie White previously. No, just 2 important pieces. DeWanna Bonner, yeah, and of course Alyssa Thomas. Them boo things playing together in Phoenix. Yeah. Well, of course, Stephanie White was their former coach, and
their recent record shows 4 victories in their last 10 games, bringing their season total to 21 wins and 20 losses. This puts them level with Seattle Storm and Las Vegas Sparks in the loss column, with Los Angeles trailing by just 1 game. A notable comparison emerges when examining coaching transitions. Stephanie White has secured only 1 additional victory compared to her predecessor, Christy Sides' record. This becomes more striking considering the team's strong finish under Sides after a difficult start when they compiled a 19-11 record and provided entertaining basketball.
In Phoenix, yeah. Well, of course, Stephanie White was their former coach. And, guys, you know I just don't have no sense. I don't have any sense. Let's I'm going to wonder all kinds of things out loud during this video. Alyssa Thomas, 23 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, damn near a triple-double. And DeWanna Bonner's ancient ass down here, 6 of 11, 54%, 19 points. You know who didn't bother to show up last night?
The game featured a heated exchange between Caitlin Clark and DeWanna Bonner during play. Following a foul call, words were exchanged, with Clark eventually directing Bonner to continue down court. The confrontation escalated briefly, with both players engaging verbally before coaching staff intervened. The size difference between the players made the altercation particularly noteworthy, yet Clark showed no backing down from the larger opponent. Alyssa Thomas provided revealing comments about facing her former coach's system, stating the Mercury understood exactly what Indiana planned to execute on both offense and defense.
Last night, Natasha Howard, 4 points. Aaliyah Boston, what has happened to Aaliyah Boston? She is missing layups like in Angel Reese You know what? No. You know what? I ain't doing that to Angel. I on a personal level, you guys know I'm not an Angel Reese fan. She's doing better with layups than Aaliyah Boston. Yep, I said it. It's out there. It's out in the open.
She emphasized the significant advantage gained from 2 years of familiarity with White's schemes, suggesting complete predictability in the Fever's approach. This admission raises questions about White's adaptation since joining Indiana. Critics argue she has simply transplanted her Connecticut Sun system without sufficient modifications for her new roster. The lack of strategic evolution has become apparent, with opponents easily countering familiar patterns. Observations of White's sideline presence have drawn scrutiny throughout the season.
Yep, I said it. It's out there. It's out in the open. Doing a better job than Aaliyah Boston. 5 of 15. What the bleep? 11 points. Good God. Odyssey Sims, 2 of 9, 5 points. I got to tell you, the Fever are barely hanging on to this last playoff spot. And they are choking out right at the wrong time. 4 of 6, 4 They've won 4 games in their last.
Limited instances of active coaching, play drawing, or strategic adjustments have been noted during televised coverage. Assistant coaches appear more engaged in real-time game management compared to the head coach's visible involvement. Speculation continues regarding Caitlin Clark's return timeline from injury. While some expect her back for upcoming games against Chicago, uncertainty remains about her availability for the season's remainder. Her absence has coincided with the team's recent struggles and declining playoff prospects.
Won 4 games in their last 10, out of their last 10, 4-6, 21-20. Now have the same amount of losses as the Storm and the Sparks. 1 game back are the LA Sparks. By the way, Chicago. Wow. Man, they're bad. They're really bad. So 21-20, it should be noted, with all these extra games,
the relationship dynamics between White and her former players create additional complexity. Both Thomas and Bonner maintain strong connections with their former coach, raising questions about potential conflicts when competing against each other. Such relationships exist throughout the league but become more prominent when directly impacting game outcomes. Indiana's injury situation compounds their current difficulties, though specific details remain unclear. Multiple players dealing with various ailments has disrupted rotation patterns and team chemistry at a crucial point in the season.
With all these extra games, Stephanie White has now won 1 game more than Christy Sides. 1 game more. Again, after that 1-9 start that Christy Sides had last year, this team finished up like 19-11. And they were fun as hell to watch. They were. So this turned into an utter and complete mess. They got beat. They got beat by 6.
The broader implications extend beyond single game results. Questions about coaching effectiveness, player relationships, and organizational direction highlight ongoing challenges within the franchise. The team's trajectory under new leadership has not met expectations set during the coaching change. Boston's declining performance particularly concerns observers, as her struggles with close-range shots have become increasingly problematic. Her shooting percentage and overall impact have diminished significantly from earlier in the season.
They got beat. They got beat by 6. You have DeWanna Bonner and Caitlin Clark getting into it right here. There's Caitlin. There was a foul, and DeWanna Bonner's talking about she's putting her paw up right there. I guess she's jawing at Caitlin. Austin Kelly. I still would like to see what Austin Kelly could do with this team. I got a feeling that he could potentially make some adjustments under not this coach.
The bench's inability to provide consistent production adds another layer to Indiana's problems. Secondary scoring options have failed to step up during key players' absences, limiting strategic flexibility. Looking ahead, the Fever face mounting pressure to secure their playoff position. Every remaining game carries increased importance as multiple teams compete for limited postseason spots. The margin for error continues shrinking with each disappointing result.